Well, you've got another virtual folder of student reflections staring at you from your laptop, and in you jump. The first student writes 3 or 4 detailed, heartfelt paragraphs. The next writes a few blunt sentences that might actually say more. And that pattern repeats itself throughout the rest of the 35 or 40 reflections you wade through. But how do you grade everything in a fair and consistent way without turning honest reflection into another 5-paragraph performance and get through everything in a reasonably quick way? That's the trick with reflective writing. It's subjective by design, but your time and your gradebook aren't. So today, we'll explore a simple way to grade reflective writing that's fair, reasonably quick, and doesn't kill the honest inward look that you're trying to get out of your students. Hello again, everyone. I'm Stokes Schwartz, and welcome back to the Collaborative Cafe. First, create a rubric around depth, not polish. A tight 3-tiered rubric, surface level, developing level, deep analysis level, works much better than 10 detailed criteria. You're checking 4 particular moves here. Did your students notice something real? Did they connect it to evidence? And did they articulate clearly what they'll do differently next time around? Remember that they can do all of that without flowery prose. Next, share the rubric before they write, not after. That point should be obvious, but you'd be surprised how often it gets lost in the shuffle. Keep in mind that students can't hit a target they've never seen. And before you ask, yes, I've made this mistake too. Third, provide targeted, specific feedback, but be selective about how you do that. You don't need a paragraph of comments on every reflection, and you certainly don't need to look at all 40 of them. Pick a handful instead and write one honest sentence that actually names what you noticed. For example, I see you connecting this back to the team project issues you experienced in week 4. That one sentence tells a student that someone actually read their thinking, and that's more than just a kind gesture. Even short comments are specific enough to help students act, and among the strongest levers for learning. A check mark or the stereotypical "good job" doesn't help anyone move forward in quite the same way that a targeted line of feedback can. Finally, you don't need to grade every single entry. If it's a portfolio, entry-by-entry grading burns you out and risks defeating the purpose of the work. Reflection is supposed to show growth across the semester, not sit there as 40 isolated snapshots that you grade through one at a time. So, what do you do instead? Well, there is a way to address both problems at once. Grade the 15 or 16-week arc rather than individual entries. At the end of the semester, have students pick 2 or 3 of their reflections, maybe one from early in the course, one from the midpoint, and one from later, and write a short synthesis. Here's how my thinking developed over the semester. Now you're judging whether students can trace their own growth, not their emotions, entry by entry. That arc is what your rubric should track. Okay, let's quickly recap the 4 moves to grade student reflections in a fair and consistent way. 1. Devise a lean rubric focused on depth. 2. Share that rubric with your students beforehand. 3. Provide targeted feedback on a handful of entries rather than exhaustive comments on all of them. And 4. Grade portfolios as a synthesis piece rather than entry by entry. For your students, reflection stops feeling like a hoop to jump through and more like something that their professor or teaching assistant will actually read. For you, it's more time spent reading how your students have grown as thinkers with less grading piled up on your desk. Next time, I promise, we'll take a look at what our students wish we knew about reflection. I'll talk to you then.